The answer depends on what piece of code you write. Is it a good code or bad code? How you are going to determine. I have read a book recently, Clean Code, by Robert Cecil Martin, which helps you to be an efficient coder. Then let's explore some key feature that I have gathered. Why it is important. Readability. Clean code is easier to read and understand. This makes it easier for developers to work with the code and for new developers to get up to speed quickly. Maintainability. Clean code is easier to maintain over time. As the code base grows and changes, it becomes more difficult to maintain code that is poorly structured or difficult to understand. Collaboration. Clean code makes collaboration between developers easier. When code is well organized and easy to read, it's easier for multiple developers to work on the same code base. Debugging. Clean code is easier to debug when issues arise. When code is well structured and easy to understand, it's easier to find and fix issues in the code. Writing clean code is an important aspect of software development as it makes the code more readable, maintainable, and easy to understand. Here are some steps and instructions to help you write clean code. Use meaningful names. Use descriptive and meaningful names for variables, functions, classes, and other elements of your code. Avoid using abbreviations or acronyms that are not commonly understood. Keep it simple. Keep your code simple and easy to understand. Avoid using complex code structures or unnecessary code. Write code that is easy to read and understand. Use consistent formatting. Use consistent formatting throughout your code. This includes indentation, spacing, and line breaks. Use a consistent style for your code, and stick to it. Avoid repetition. Avoid repeating code, and use functions and classes to encapsulate code that is used repeatedly. This makes your code more modular and easier to maintain. Keep functions and methods short. Keep your functions and methods short and focused. Aim for no more than 10 to 20 lines of code per function. This makes it easier to read and understand your code. Use comments sparingly. Use comments sparingly, and only where necessary to explain complex or confusing code. Use descriptive function and variable names instead of comments wherever possible. Test your code. Test your code thoroughly to ensure it works as intended. Use unit tests to test individual functions and classes, and integration tests to test the overall system. Refactor often. Refactor your code often to keep it clean and maintainable. Refactoring involves improving the structure and readability of your code without changing its functionality. Use version control. Use version control to manage your code changes and collaborate with other developers. Use a tool like Git to track changes to your code and collaborate with other developers. Follow best practices. Follow best practices for your programming language and development environment. Use tools like linters and code formatters to ensure your code meets best practices. Subscribe